Max Fried absolutely dominated the Giants on opening day. What does that mean for his fantasy value and more?
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. I'm Dominic Martino, riding solo today, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. And on this short form video, I like to call it Dom's Corner. Thank you to our everydayers and new listeners for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm a longtime fantasy baseball analyst, and I've been doing this for over 20 years. And that's how much fantasy baseball knowledge I got, and I do this podcast to share it with you. Wherever you watch and or listen, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. It helps to grow the podcast, and we truly do appreciate it. And damn, did any of you catch that game? Great game, great night. Opening day was super fun. Yankees win. I'm a Yankee fan if you guys didn't already know that, so it was good for me. Sorry to you Giants fans out there. Yankees win 7-zip. But today I am focused on Mr. Max Fried, who went out there and dominated. We're going to start off. We'll talk about his performance, how he looked, things like that. And then in the second half, we'll kind of get more into expectations, his numbers, and we'll break them down a little bit deeper. But, let's talk about that game a little bit and how Max Fried looked. Like I said, 7-0 Yanks. Fried went out there, looked great, went 6.1 innings, gave up only 2 hits, 1 walk, struck out 4. He threw 86 pitches and just looked good. Struggled a little bit in the first inning, gave up a walk to Matt Chapman, then gave up a hit to Devers. Settled in really nicely after that, struck out, I believe, 3 in the second inning. And kind of just rolled on from there, right? Only had given up 1 more hit after that, and Max Fried was rolling. So looked really good, great start. I know it's not necessarily like a dominant lineup that he did it against. We'll talk about the names in that lineup here in a sec. It was Arias, Chapman, Devers, Adames, Lee, Ramos, Schmidt, Bailey, and Hader. So, hey, listen, the top of that lineup isn't bad. You got 4 veteran bats that can get it done in Arias, Chapman, Devers, and Adames. Elliot Ramos isn't a slouch either. Had a pretty decent year last year. So, Fried went out there against some solid competition, not great competition, and looked really good. So, I'm happy with Max Fried. If you drafted him, you're obviously sitting really happy right now. He was coming off the board. Bear with me. I'll tell you. So I have Fried. Well, while I pull that up, we'll talk about where I have Fried ranked. Going into the year, I had Fried ranked as my number 9 SP. I want to say he stays in that range. I don't think we're moving and shaking things up too much off of one start. But if Fried just continues to, do what he's doing, who he was, Fried was coming off the board as SP11 in drafts. Good spot for Fried. I think he can anchor your rotation. I think that's going to be, not something we have to worry about. If we look all the way back to 2020, Fried's been the same guy every year. Low 3s, high 2s ERA. He even mixed in a mid 2s ERA in there twice. The K per 9 is always right around that K per 9. He's never really too far off, but he's never going to be over that K per 9. And the whip is something that's interesting with the Max Fried type. You would figure he'd be a little bit better in whip. 108, 101. It was really nice back in 2022. But then in 23 and 24, he was a little bit higher at a 113 and a 116 last on 2024. In 2025 was a 110. Got it back down a little bit. So he's kind of been a little bit all over the place in whip. Hasn't gotten it too high, but that 113 and 116 in back-to-back years, looking a little bit on the higher end for somebody of Max Fried's caliber. But he also won 19 games last year with the Yankees, so I think he's going to have another good win season. Just somebody that you should just widely should be considered an ace in Max Fried. Once again, loved what I saw from the big lefty on opening day against the Giants. Not too much else to add on the performance and where we should view him going forward. I think Fried versus Brian Wu is a conversation. I think Fried versus Cole Ragans is a conversation. Just in the sense of that, yeah, Ragans has the better stuff, but don't forget they moved those walls in Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. And I think Fried is going to have a way lower ERA than Ragans, where I think Ragans has a mid to high threes ERA with monstrous strikeout totals and a solid whip. Fried, that ERA is going to be so much lower. That K per 9 is going to be right around there. And the whip kind of just leaves that ultimate question mark with Max Fried. After this, we'll get more into, some numbers and things like that on Max Fried coming up next. And all right, guys, I need to talk to you about my friends over at TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life this year. TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day with TurboTax Full Service. You can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert from start to finish without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives you real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can just have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. Take taxes off your plate. Get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. And what if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction market changes the game. Makes it real easy. It's people moving the action, so when the momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part in it live. In a market powered by people, you're no longer just a spectator play-by-play. You decide, trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. And let's finish strong here. That's a good amount of talk on Max Fried, honestly. Great showing, top 10 starting pitcher. I fully believe in him. If you could trade for, obviously it's super early and coming off this first performance, the value's up. So I don't know if you're trading for Max Fried at a value right now. But I'll say this, if you're looking to sell, I don't know if I am. I don't know if I'm selling on Max Fried just because, like I said, the consistency, the wins upside, he's going to be really, really good all season long. He's been good for the past 6 years. So I don't foresee Fried, just falling off a cliff. And it's a top, arguably 8 starting pitcher you got in your hands, unless you're moving up, that starting pitcher list, or you're getting yourself a really, really, really good bat, which you need. Maybe you have an abundance of pitching and you want to move Fried for a bat. I'm targeting a second round type bat, third round type bat in a trade like that right now. Just because, like I said, value's up on a guy like Fried, top 10 starting pitcher. And in trades early season, early in the season is usually when I see the worst trades happen, right? I see a lot of overreactions. I see a lot of people, getting duped by, the guys who have played for a long time and know, things correct back to the mean at some point for the most part. Yeah, we have our breakouts and we have our busts. But I want to say for 75% of, players, we kind of just know, especially veterans, we know where they're at. What I've been doing recently on Dom's Corner is I'll give you a second guy at the end of the episode. If you hung around the whole time, we'll do a bit of Logan Webb talk. He actually got rocked in that Yankees, opening day game. He was on the other side of it. He pitched 5 innings, 6 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. Let's not overreact too much here on Logan Webb. I will say this. The thing that's turned me off to Logan Webb over the years has always been the whip. He gives up too many hits. Sometimes it's the walks that bite him in the butt. But Logan Webb, for me personally, I had Logan Webb as SP17. I think that's about right. He's definitely a solid SP2, but I feel like he always hurts you in one area, whether it's the whip, it's the strikeouts in other years. So I know the whip was up last year. I want to say it was like a 1.21 whip last year for Logan Webb. A 1.23 whip last year for Logan Webb, and it's actually been a 1.23 whip the last 2 years in a row for Logan Webb. Yes, the strikeouts went up a significant amount last year, but like I said, things seem to always correct to the mean, not only in life, but in fantasy baseball as well. He's always been under a K per 9 guy. I don't know if I'm buying the strikeout jump at age 28, but he's consistent. Logan Webb is another guy that I'm definitely not selling low on. Definitely not giving Logan Webb away for nothing. I'm not overreacting to one start. He's going to be a low to mid 3s ERA guy, probably right around that K per 9. The whip is what's going to kill me with Logan Webb, and that's kind of why I put him more in that SP2 range than that SP1. But guys, that's going to be all for today. Shout out to our everydayers and our new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen of the day. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On Fantasy Baseball so you get all of our latest episodes. We're available on all video platforms, all audio platforms. So if you are watching on the video side of things, we're going to send you over to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. And on the audio side of things, make sure your second listen is Locked On MLB. But guys, until next time, slow.